Hello and welcome again to another video update from the Montana Department of Livestock. I'm Christian McKay, Executive Officer to the Board of Livestock, and with me today is Dr. Marty Zalewski, Montana State Veterinarian. And Dr. Zalewski, an update on the EHV situation, both nationally and here in Montana. Where are we at with that?
Well, Montana remains free of the disease as far as we can tell, or as far as we know. Nationally, it has affected a number of states, and in fact has caused, or there have been 33 reports of, or 33 cases of the neurological form of the disease nationwide.
And that is the worst form of the disease, is that right? That's the fatal form?
That's correct. EHV is actually a respiratory disease most often, but the neurologic form is the one that's most often fatal, and one that causes very significant neurologic symptoms in horses.
And Montana, as you said earlier, remains EHV free. Are we expecting this to subside through the summer? Are we at the tail end of this, or do we have to remain ever vigilant on this?
Well, we almost certainly have the respiratory form, or we do have the respiratory form of EHV throughout the state. That's a fairly known fact. But the neurological form is reportable in Montana. We don't have any reported cases. And most of the cluster of these EHV cases have been focused on exposure at this Ogden event at the end of May.
The respiratory version of this is common. It's kind of here all the time, isn't it?
That's correct.
Okay. The weather in Montana is bringing a couple of other animal health challenges to the forefront. The first, again for horse owners, West Nile. Looks like in addition to a very wet spring and early summer, will bring about a very heavy mosquito season. What should horse owners know about West Nile disease?
Well, this disease is spread with mosquitoes, and so that can be exacerbated by a lot of standing water and a large mosquito hatch, which is certainly something of a concern for us right now. Working with your veterinarian on a disease control program is probably the most important thing I can say in that regard. Vaccination has proved to be very successful at limiting the impact of West Nile, and then mosquito control on a particular premises has also shown value.
Kind of hard right now not to have standing water in a lot of places in Montana, but certainly when it starts to dry up, keep those wet places drained as much as possible. Change water facilities, that kind of thing. I know the vaccine is very easy. It's part of the combination vaccine that a lot of people use every spring for sleeping sickness. What else is in that combination vaccine? It's fairly easily administered.
The 5-way vaccine does have EHV, rhinopneumonitis in it. It has Eastern encephalitis, Western encephalitis, and tetanus typically.
Flooding around the state is churning up a lot of soil that hasn't been exposed for years. Does that bring any more cause for concern about anthrax?
It's anthrax seems to be a lot of times dancing to its own beat to some degree in a way that we can't fully predict when it's going to happen and where. But there's a couple things that we recognize as being somewhat associated with outbreaks. One is obviously if there's a history of the disease in a particular geographical area, we're concerned about recurrence of that disease in that area. And then the other, as far as the climate, that also seems to be linked. Usually heavy rains followed by a significant heating period have been associated with outbreaks. So, certainly for folks that have experienced the disease in some of these geographical areas, I would recommend that they also discuss with their veterinarian potentially vaccinating livestock in that area.
Okay, very good. We appreciate your time and appreciate these updates. Again, for the Montana Department of Livestock, I'm Christian McKay along with Dr. Marty Zalewski. We hope you join us again.
Thanks.